Hello. So today I'm doing things a bit differently. I'm going live instead of doing pre-recorded messages like I usually do, um, to discuss the current energies. So today is the full moon in Cancer, and there has just been a lot that's been going on energetically. So on the 11th of January, we had the we had the lunar nodes shift. So the north node is now in Pisces and the south node is in Virgo, in addition to the increase of the Schumann resonance activity. So it's been a very intense past, I would say, 10 days, um, to just put it lightly. And obviously, there are things also occurring, just in collectively in the physical. For example, the LA fires, which of course it's incredibly tragic to see. Uh, but all of this is part of what is just going on. And for those of us that are energetically sensitive, we have been feeling this intense energy. And for the star seeds that are watching this, if you have been feeling just completely drained of energy, completely exhausted, like you just want to sleep, uh, it's all part of just what is happening energetically. So there's a few things that I channeled beforehand that came through the past few days that I wanted to share, in addition to just talking about the nodal shifts, what it means for us, especially as star seeds, and also today's Cancer full moon. So, welcome if you are here, if you are watching, and I'm going to start off with just an energetic clearing, with this singing bowl, to just welcome you into the space and, yeah, just energetically clear the space. So just closing your eyes and allowing the sound to just bring healing to your space, and to just really allow yourself to leave behind whatever has been occurring up until this point, as you step into this new energetic chapter, portal, however you want to understand it. Just allowing yourself to fully receive the energy. And just really allowing yourself to just really exhale, because that's what we need with all of this energy going on. It's like this giant exhale is really needed to just really let go of it all. And of course, that can be incredibly difficult, especially if you are someone that is maybe going through something as tragic as these LA fires. Um, but still understanding that in each moment, it is a new moment, regardless of what is happening in the physical. So let's talk about the Schumann resonance. So, yes, I already covered that if you have been feeling exhausted, if you have been feeling like you just want to sleep, if you have just been feeling like all the physical symptoms that come with being sensitive to the Schumann resonance, which has been spiking, it has been increasing. And for those of you that are not familiar, the Schumann resonance is it's the it's the electromagnetic fields. It's the measurement of the electromagnetic frequency that Earth emits. So everything is electromagnetic at its core, you and I, as well as the Earth, the planets, everything. So these spikes have been occurring from, if I remember correctly, over the past few years. I'm sure before that there's been spikes throughout the decades and even centuries, but there has been a lot of activity over the past few years, and the past year has been there's been a lot in terms of the Schumann resonance. So it's spiked early January. So yeah, if you've been feeling exhausted, you just want to sleep, you feel irritated, or you just feel really drained and you don't know why, it could be because you are just your body is picking up on the spike in the energy. But what I want to say is it is part of initiation. Whenever we go through these really intense energetic spikes and it affects us to the point where we feel completely wiped out, it's basically a reset point. For those of you that are energetically tuned in or becoming more energetically tuned in, when you get to the point where you are completely fatigued and completely wiped out, that is your reset point, especially as a star seed or even an earth seed that is really in tune with the earth and really feeling this complete connection to our planet. These are reset points. These are points where you pretty much, it's like the rebirth death portal. When it wipes you out to that degree where you have extreme fatigue, where you just cannot do anything, where you just want to sleep so much, that's your reset point. So allow yourself to fully feel the reset point as much as you can. Don't fight it, surrender to it. Understand that it's also a purge. It's like a purge that's happening, and just allow yourself to rest, because that is how you take, in a way, most advantage of these windows. The spikes are the the times where the energy is spiking. It's also like these windows. So that is kind of what I have been realizing and what many people have been realizing with the Schumann resonance. It's not this thing to just be like, oh, it's happening to me and there's nothing I can do. It's like, no, if you're sensitive to it, just rest, allow yourself to rest. Don't feel like you have to push through it, but understand it is an energetic reset. And you can be getting a lot of downloads during these intense spikes of energy. So, because essentially, it is also Schumann resonance, it's also impacted by what is coming in electromagnetically from the cosmos. So all of it is information at the end of the day. Energy is carrying information. So we can get a lot of downloads and insights and just things coming in fully formed. So even if our body, when I say fully formed, I mean like visions, as opposed to you thinking about something, like you sitting there and actually thinking about something, the downloads you get, the insights you get, they're fully formed. And they can be from anything, from past lives, from things that you realize with your family, literally anything. But that is typically what comes with these spikes of energy, with the Schumann resonance happening, spiking. And what was funny was that every time I was putting in Schumann resonance on my phone to just take down all these notes that were coming up, it kept auto correcting it to shaman. So in a sense, that is what it is. When you are there going through what feels like a death portal, and you feel like you're also going a bit crazy. It's very much the shamanic path, because what is the path of the shaman? It is to go into the dark, into the unknown on their own with, yes, the tools and the information they have gathered up until that point through their training, through their initiations. But still, they have to keep going into the unknown. So it's like that's what all of these windows are. They are these kind of portals that we go into as our own initiation. So that's what I mean when I say the downloads come through, the insights come through. That's part of your unique initiation where you get your own internal wisdom from. There is wisdom that you gain from direct experiences, and there is wisdom that you gain from just learning and applying it. But then there's wisdom that you gain from just being with the energy and allowing it to intuitively guide you, and going through that initiation portal, you get wisdom from that. So the shamanic aspect is also coming up through these spikes of energy with the Schumann resonance happening. And yes, very much the shamanic path for those that process this on their own intuitively, because society has indoctrinated the vast majority of us to constantly be needing guidance and constantly be needing to be told what to do, even spiritually and energetically. But at the end of the day, as I said, we are all electromagnetic beings, and we are connected to the divine intelligence of all things innately. So if we just allow ourselves to listen and be open, we we can understand just intuitively how to work with it and how to explore it. It's very much an invitation to explore. So, for the nodal shifts which occurred on January 11th, which are occurring currently, there's still, I think, a date on January 28th where I think either the south node or the north node officially moves, but the nodal shift has already begun on January 11th. So, with Pisces and Virgo, intuitively, the energy is how are we balancing the ethereal with the physical? Because if the north node is in Pisces and the south node is in Virgo, it is this energy of kind of the celestial realms and the physical realms simultaneously. And the image I got, particularly for star seeds, but if this resonates, it resonates, is literally one hand reaching up to the heavens and the other hand below to the earthly realm. So, this nodal shift that is influencing the next 18 months is this kind of like this balancing, this harmonizing, this calling in of celestial energy with earthly energy. And of course, seeing how that directly applies to your houses. Where does Pisces fall in your natal chart in terms of what house does it rule? And what house does Virgo fall in on your chart? And of course, if you have planets there, if you have aspects there, whatever you have significantly in those houses is also going to all make up the bigger picture as you reflect after the 18 months. So, this overall dance, this simultaneous dance of the ethereal with the physical, is very much what is going to flavor these next 18 months collectively and individually. And so, yeah, what does that mean? What does it mean that the ethereal and the physical? So, by design, we are bridges. Naturally speaking, we are bridges for the physical and the non-physical, because we are both physical matter, but we also have a soul, we have our spirit, and of course, electromagnetic energy. So, by design, we are these bridges already. for the divine to come into, let's say, the earthly realm. So we're gonna be going deeper into this. And it's gonna really be this harmonizing of these two aspects of ourselves. So I'm gonna clarify. So in Zeland's book, Vadim Zeland, Reality Transurfing, one of the one of my favorite quotes from that book is reality is both subjective and objective. So it behaves both subjectively and objectively at the same time. And that is kind of the core message of all things. It is both material and non material. And through quantum physics, we see this. It is both the wave and the particle. It is simply through the observer that things are collapsing. So, to bring this back to Virgo and Pisces, embracing both sides of you and both sides of reality, how reality plays out, and how you are the bridge, and how you can basically initiate and activate this capacity you have within yourself to move between the physical and the non-physical. But bringing it down to even a more grounded level, Pisces being the last sign in the zodiac, having learned all of the lessons. So it is this kind of culminating energy of kind of coming into this detachment from learning all the lessons. And then with Virgo, it is very much about the body. So North Node is what is being embraced naturally. South Node is what is being released naturally. Whether or not you want to release it, it will be released regardless. And this can be in very literal ways. So the nodal shifts are very much what only makes sense in hindsight. When you're going through it, you kind of understand, but it really comes together in hindsight. So what you can do is you can look at the last 18 months when the North Node went into Aries and the South Node was in, I think it's Scorpio, and just see what happened. Uh, sorry, Libra. South Node was Libra. So Aries and Libra, the axes, right? Because it's the polarity on the astrological wheel. So there's 6 polarities because it's 12 houses and it's the opposite. So the North Node is moving backwards, the South Node is moving forward. So last year, the last 18 months, what came up for you? What were you releasing with the Libra? Like what house, what was being released from the house that Libra rules in your chart? And what were you being pushed towards more from what Aries rules in your chart? You can look at the last 18 months and just see. That will be able to help you move through these next 18 months in a way of understanding, okay, nodal shifts do indeed affect me. Because I'm not going to say they affect everyone, but the last 18 months really affected me. And it affected me more, I would say, in what was being released versus what it felt like I was going towards. What it felt like I was going towards personally felt more kind of subtle, like behind the scenes. Like, yes, I'm going in that direction, but it was more behind the scenes. Whereas what was being released was very literal for me. So again, right now I can't say what the contributing factors are to that because there's probably more aspects in the astrological chart that would dictate what is more of being released and what you are moving towards more in the 18 cycles, in the 18-month cycles. So hopefully that can help you to understand how to just navigate the next 18 months. And of course, whatever you have a strong placement in the house, if you have more placements in Pisces than in Virgo or vice versa, you'll probably be feeling it more on the north or south node. But of course, you'll be able to reflect fully once the 18 months is done. So, for star seeds listening, what came through was very much taking care of your physical vessel, especially for those of you that feel as though you are here to bring in the new systems. You have these incredible visions that you want to bring in, but you just don't know how. Making sure that you are grounded in your physical vessel is going to be incredibly important for you because that is the Virgo South node. So, yes, things are being released, but what is coming through intuitively, more for starseed specifically, is yes, being grounded in your body. You want to be fully grounded in your vessel because that is going to help you really integrate what is coming in, and that is going to help you implement more effectively what you are here to birth, channel, be the bridge for from the divine, from the celestial realms, from the galactic realms. And really taking care of things physically, no matter what state they are in, to ensure the energetics are anchored in. So, this is speaking more to anything in the physical realm. This is more in terms of manifestation. Anything in the physical realm, because Virgo is very much about the perfectionist tendencies. And for those of us manifesting, this message specifically is take care of what you have, knowing that you can transmute it and you can transform it into whatever version of it you want to be experiencing. Meaning, let's say your home situation. Take care of your home as it is now, regardless of the state it is in, because that is how you are actually going to bring in the higher versions of what you actually want to be experiencing. So it's not about neglecting the physical, it is about taking care of the physical, whether that is your physical vessel, your home, whatever physical aspects you are resonating towards and having most resistance towards. You want to be taking care of that exceptionally, accepting it as it is, being in this accepting energy of, you know what, things are the way they are, and I'm going to love them just as much as when they are the way I want them to be. And see how that shifts things exponentially. Because we are talking about the quantum. We are not talking about Newtonian physics. We are not talking about the linear, especially us as star seeds, knowing that we are multi-dimensional beings. So it is almost this multi-dimensional aspect of looking at the lunar nodes. It's not just this earthly astrology, even in the way we are relating to the immediate planets in our solar system. As star seeds, we are tapped in very galactically. So we are also picking up on just other things that are coming through. So it is about this exponential shift, this exponential growth, which is more about the quantum anyway. So this is kind of almost like a manifestations directive of how to navigate this nodal shift this next 18 months. If you want to take advantage of it exponentially, it's looking at it through this quantum lens almost. So letting go of the perfectionist tendencies and really embracing things how they are in their current states, and just knowing that everything is part of the quantum, including whatever the physical thing is that you are having resistance towards. Include, like I said, including your vessel. If you want your body to change, it's not going to change from this aspect of, oh, I hate my body. It's going to change from, okay, accepting does not mean desiring. A lot of people think that, okay, if they accept their current circumstance, If they are in the accepting energy, they are saying they want more of that. And that's not the case at all. Accepting is simply allowing yourself to be on the path of least resistance faster. So when you are not accepting, you are in a resisting energy, which is just adding more roadblocks to you being on the path of actually starting to manifest. So embracing what is in the physical realm, releasing the perfectionist tendencies, and just releasing it, not resisting what is needing to be released with the South Node energy. And yes, understanding you are the divine bridge to the best of your ability. It is not this pressurized game where you are just like, what do I need to do? I need to do this. I need to do this ritual. I need to be manifesting. No, it's like being in tune with your own energy, trusting that intuitively, and knowing inherently that you are the divine bridge. That's just what you are by design. Releasing karmic wounds and patterns. So, South Node energy really ties into karmic wounds a lot because it's the past life, it's where we've come from. So, in a sense, if you are releasing really heavily in these next 18 months, it could be to do with your past life, or it could be to do with what you are karmically tied to. And the karma doesn't necessarily have to be from a past life. And by past life, I mean, what is the direct parallel life that is connected to your current life? Because that's what we are perceiving as past lives. If we are going by the law of quantum physics, the unified field, everything existing as one, everybody has already lived everyone's past lives because everything is one at its core. So the past lives that we tap into, it is really what just applies to our current life the most. So karmically, yes, intuitively, it feels as though we should say karmically it is to do with the past life, but it's like this greater layer of karma is coming in energetically. That's what I'm picking up on. So, however you resonate with this, karmic patterns and whatever is from the past life, karmic wounds and patterns, that may be really highlighted for you to work through these next 18 months. And really coming into this truth, if it resonates for you, that your karmic wounds and patterns, or I would say what is most tied to your generational trauma, whatever has come before you, especially as a star seed, because as a star seed, you are a soul that has had more lifetimes on other star systems, other planets, galaxies, all of that. But you have decided to incarnate into the earthly realm. You have decided to incarnate here on earth in this lifetime. It might not be your first, or it may be your first, depending. But you have had several lifetimes on other star systems and planets. So for you, inherently, it's like you are this soul that has been inserted into this human vessel, and you have agreed to take on all of that karma from the human vessel. Because when we talk about karma to the earthly realm, it is just that, it's from the earthly realm. So as a star seed, you are coming in and you're almost being inserted into this earth game program where you are also going to have also all of this earthly generational karma, if that makes sense. So it's not yours to carry, meaning if you're born into a dysfunctional family, like many of us were, if you're born into a dysfunctional family, or a family that you just don't resonate with the way they do things, or the energy feels very heavy. Just know that that is not yours to carry. Just by accepting that truth, that already shifts a lot for you. Because societally, we are programmed in many ways to just accept these dynamics, um, like the family unit, or just whatever exists in the sense of the family unit that we are supposed to just accept, even if it goes against what we really feel in our soul. So, as a star seed, if you do not resonate with what is happening in your family dynamic, you don't resonate with that, and it's not yours to carry. You don't need to feed into any of that. So, yes, you are here to work through any karma that you need to work through in order to transcend it, not to just keep living the karma and being punished by it, to transcend it. But really separating yourself from what is yours and what belongs to other people. Because, yes, many of us have felt the guilt from the generations before us. But for those of us that are star seeds, we know inherently that it had nothing to do with us because we are here to, yes, forge our own paths, but in our soul, we are just not connected to the physical generations before us. For some of you, this is the starseed harmonization you have been asking for. It is about balancing the two worlds, both internally and externally, reaching up to the heavens simultaneously while reaching down to the earth in a way of harmoniously holding the two. You are the graceful scale that holds the two aspects. So, allowing yourself to just free yourself from any of the ancestral baggage. And I say this with love, I say this with compassion. This is not about bypassing, but it's just about saying, okay, am I gonna keep holding these bags, or it's time to drop the bags? And I don't feel guilty about dropping the bags because they're not yours. But what is yours to work through. Again, it's not bypassing. So, yes, just to come back to that last paragraph that was channeled. Yes, for some of you star seeds, this Pisces Virgo axis of the nodes is like the harmonization that a lot of you are needing. Because a lot of us star seeds, that's kind of like one of our greatest battles, is not being in this natural harmony of the physical realm, like being in the physical realm and feeling like it's very dense, it's very slow, like, you know, why does it feel like I'm moving through mud? Like, why is it, it's a very common experience for us as star seeds to kind of just not have this natural harmonization with just the human experience, like just the earthly experience of just being in a human vessel. So calling in this harmonization, that is going to be the first step for many of you star seeds that might not even realize you're star seeds or are just starting to wake up to the fact that you're star seeds. If you can start calling in this harmonization first and foremost, call that in, because that is almost going to be like the first stepping stone to your path as a star seed intuitively for yourself. No one is telling you how to be a star seed. It is all about you intuitively feeling into the guidance that your galactic self and your galactic selves are going to give to you. Because as a star seed, you kind of have your own access to information from the galactic realms. That's just how it works. So the more you can initiate into that, kind of just allow yourself to resonate into that. Your rational mind is not going to be able to like really understand it, but it is going to come through. It's going to come through visions, it's going to come through insights. So harmonizing with the earthly experience, harmonizing with the earth realm is just even saying that out loud, or just even realizing that you may not have been you may have been at war with yourself with just the essence of the human experience. Realizing that and just accepting that is like, it's already such a huge first step to your path as being an empowered and fully sovereign starseed. So this Pisces Virgo axis, considering it's North Node Pisces, uh, it is this harmonization. It's a really good time to activate this harmonization. I mean, it's a good time to activate it at any time. I mean, nodal shifts or not, 18-month window or not, you can harmonize at any moment, but there may be additional insights that come in through this window. So, yes, that is what I have to say as of now for the nodal shifts. We also have, back to local astrology, in terms of, well, I will still tie it back to whatever is coming through for star seeds, but Mars has been in retrograde for a long time. And Mars is now in retrograde in Cancer, the sign that it has a detriment in. So normally speaking, if Mars was direct, I think Mars goes retrograde every 2 years, if I'm correct. Mars, normally speaking, just going direct, being in Cancer, it's already at its detriment because Mars is fiery energy traditionally. It rules Aries, so it's very go, go, go. And for those of you that have strong Mars placements, I'm talking Mars in Scorpio, I'm talking Mars in Aries, maybe even Mars in Sagittarius, again, the fire signs, right? Well, Scorpio not being a fire sign, but it is like a deep water sign. And I think before Pluto was discovered, Mars originally also ruled Scorpio. I could be wrong, but I think that's what it was. So anyway, those of you that have strong Mars placements in your chart, um, if you were born with Mars in any of the signs I just said, um, you may be having a really difficult time with this transit and the fact that it's going retrograde. So it's retrograde until February. So that can also be kind of contributing to, if any of you have been just feeling like, oh my God, like I'm exhausted, I'm fatigued, I don't know what is going on. If you have a strong Mars placement, you could be feeling it for that reason, in addition to the Schumann resonance spikes that I mentioned. It's all just like this cocktail, this melting pot of all of these energies. Nodal shift, Mars in retrograde in Cancer, previously was in Gemini. Mars is not that great in Gemini, if I am correct in what I remember with astrology. But anyway, January 6th, the fact that, yeah, Mars moved into Cancer, but while it was retrograde, not a fun time, but it's okay. Again, just accepting where you are at, accepting the fatigue, accepting the exhaustion, accepting the frustration, accepting the fact that you might just be like, you know what? Everything that I have been previously doing, the way I have been previously working, because Mars is, it's Aries energy, it's the sign of, it's the planet to do with also kind of how we work. It's masculine energy in a way. So it's to do with, in a way, how we work. So it's like maybe the way you've been working for strong Mars placements, maybe the way that you've been working, you've just been like, you know what? I need to do things differently. But before you can even implement those changes, you are just like exhausted. It's like, okay, you know you want to implement the changes, but physically you're just so exhausted. So all of these energies together, it's very energetically intense. And just rest. Just allow yourself to rest so that when Mars does go direct, which is February 23rd, 24th, and when it changes signs into Leo, April 17th, I think, that's your time. That is your time to go full steam ahead. Um, Pretty much for everyone because Mars is going to be exalted in Leo, but for you that have strong Mars placements, you're just going to feel it more. So, yes, Mars is in the mix. And also what is just coming up is like the clash of fire and water, the clash of the energy of Mars being fire, Cancer being water. I mean, that usually dictates I think how signs are either exalted or in their detriment. Of course, the qualities of the signs and the planets also play a big part. Um, for example, Mars being exalted in Leo, which I'm pretty sure it is. I'm gonna just look this up so I'm not just completely making things up. Not that I am, but if I remember. No, I'm completely wrong. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, but I'm pretty sure Mars it does well in Leo anyway because it's a fire sign and it's very go go go. But okay, Mars is exalted in Capricorn, but still, once Mars will be in Leo, it's just gonna be an easier time because Leo is also fire. And so yeah, Mars being exalted in Capricorn makes a lot of sense as well, in the sense of Capricorn wanting to get things done. So with the Mars energy, it's like, yeah, we can actually go. We can actually do things because we have the fuel of Mars to do it. So it makes sense. Um, but anyway, this clash of fire and water, and what came through really, like, I am going to say this with the most love and the most compassion, but looking at what has happened recently in California with the fires, this is not an astrology prediction or any of that. But for those of you that have just been feeling as though, okay, I'm not going to talk about this right now because I'm being guided to not talk about this right now. So I'm going to listen, even though I have some intuitive inklings around what is happening with this situation in California, this absolutely tragic, devastating, horrific, traumatic situation in California. I'm not going to talk about it right now because I'm just being guided not to. So I'm going to listen, but to be revisited tentatively. So, but what I will say is because it's in my notes, this is just me speaking kind of from my ego in a way right now, but it's like a lot of people talking about listening to Mother Earth, that this whole tragedy is about listening to Mother Earth. And I'm going to say it's not in the way that you think it is. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So what else? What else do we have? There was a lot channeled. Well, I'm going to go to another message that was channeled that was more to do with not really this astrology at all. Really quickly though, I'm going to finish with the astrology because uh we have the full moon in Cancer today. So release. If you guys, whoever wants to, do these rituals or any of that or take advantage of it, full moon in Cancer, the moon rules Cancer. So this is a really good time to do any kind of releasing. If you want to make it really personalized, really specific, really optimal, let's say, look at what Cancer rules in your chart. If your moon is in Cancer, just go with that intuitively. But yes, releasing what needs to be released. I'm actually going to pull a card for this full moon in Cancer, just to see what comes up, if anything does come up. But yes, just allowing yourself to intuitively release. And I would say, if you want to make it really personal, just see what is also aspected in your chart. Like, whatever is aspected in your chart with Cancer, if you have any planets that are in Cancer, releasing anything that you would like to most benefit from with the energy of those planets. Just releasing anything that kind of stops you from being in that benefic energy of the planets, I would say. So yeah, and also emotions. I mean, full moon in Cancer. If you've been feeling emotional, of course, again, I keep coming back to the LA fires because it is really emotional. Like, it's really tragic to see bottom of the deck friendship. So connecting with your friends, leaning on your friends, opening up more to your friends, being more vulnerable in your friendship circle. Because a lot of us, we feel like we can't even open up to our friends. We feel like we have to guard ourselves even against those that are our friends. And to be honest, that's how you create walls within your friendships. So just allowing yourself to really be vulnerable with your friends, rely on your friends, open up to your friends. What is symbolically coming up with the energy of what is happening in LA is everyone's capacity for vulnerableness, which this full moon in Cancer is kind of like, it's kind of filling with this very, because Cancer is, it's the nurturer, right? It's the mother energy. So it's almost like the full moon is kind of holding you, like holding all of us really, in this very like motherly energy and family among friends. Because and okay, for star seeds, yes, it's like, especially if you don't resonate with the whole family model, like the whole earth family model, your friends are your family. You came here to make these family connections with your friends, with your people, with your fellow star seeds, with the ones that get you. Like, you don't have to explain yourself to star seeds. Like, we just understand each other. What came through in a channeled message was, which I have to post still, but it's like our frequency, our vibration just understands one another. When you can just be in the presence of a star seed and you're talking without talking. You are kind of having this heart telepathy. So really following the resonance. What is the actual resonance of the friendships you have? That's what you should be relying on, because society will do what society does. Society will tell you all the things it wants to tell you. Society is not your friend in the sense of, like, if society makes you go against yourself, it's not your friend. Find who your real friends are. Connect with them, cherish them, love them. So, the cards that came up, boundaries, 26. Honestly, I hate to say it, but like there is a realism that needs to come in protection energy. If you listen to Leo Skepi, this card is giving Leo Skepi energy, especially what he's spoken about with these fires. Uh Boundaries, protection. Call on this leopard. Call on the energy of the leopard. I mean, the fact that it's red, it's giving fire, it's giving like that strong energy. So it's like, yes, Mars is retrograde in Cancer, doesn't matter. Like retrograde, okay, and it's yes, it's in the detriment, but still, preserve your energy. Preserve your energy to protect your boundaries and protect yourself. Um, doesn't make you a less loving person, doesn't make you someone who's rude by enforcing and protecting your energy and your boundaries. Your energy is sacred. Your energy is the most sacred thing about you, and absolutely protecting it. Not everyone gets access to your energy. Who gets access to your energy? That's what this leopard is coming in to say. Like, who gets access to your energy? Who are you allowing access to your energy? Who are you allowing yourself to be vulnerable in front of? Like, not everyone deserves your vulnerability. Leo Skepi, in one of his videos, he says, "You have to earn the right to say I love you." And when I heard that, I was like, yeah, because as much as it's about connection, as much as it's about finding your people, it's also about like what comes through in the new age community, let's say, is like love and light and good vibes only. And what a lot of people are realizing, whether they are directly or indirectly impacted by the fires, is it's okay to not fucking be okay. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be upset. It is okay to be deep in the trauma of what is happening and to still be deep in the trauma after it's transpired. That's what this boundary card is also coming in to say. Because a lot of people want to come in and be like, oh, everything happens for a reason and this and that. And it's like, yeah. And sometimes you are the one that has to give it the reason. That's just how this earth game realm works. Sometimes the reason is really obvious, and sometimes you have to be the one to give it the reason when it makes no fucking sense. So, a lot of people are getting the rude awakening. It's not all love and light. Even in the spiritual community, it's not all love and light, and it never was. Because this is the problem with the new age community, is that everything is kind of glossed over. The prettiness is looked at. The prettiness is what is pushed onto everyone. And the shamanic path, which I was talking about in the beginning with the Schumann Resonance, is finding your way in the darkness. The leopard is she is a soul predator. She moves in the jungle on her own. She is very protective of herself, of her space. There are those that are in packs and there are those on their own. And leopards, they're kind of on their own. They move on their own. But that's just the way they are. And there's nothing wrong with that. So the boundaries energy is very strong, and it's going to be felt in a lot of different ways, but yeah, the energy is coming through the boundaries. The second card we have is meditate. So it's actually kind of like a chilled out energy almost. It's like, be calm, but don't fuck with me. Like you're in your calm energy, but like also no one is fucking with you type of thing. So maybe stating your boundaries and then just kind of taking a chill moment, like, okay, you asserted yourself. You asserted yourself, and now you can just kind of take a breather, kind of relax, kind of exhale fully. Uh, what's also coming through, it's kind of like the gratitude is coming through with the mala beads. So, mala beads are used, or rosary beads, but from my personal experience, um, there's 40 mala beads, and you basically say mantras. Sorry. You say mantras as you with each bead. And it's kind of putting you into this trance. And you can pick whatever mantra you want. And so for those of you that have a difficult time with meditating, you might want to start chanting. You might want to start using mala beads to get into that other state of mind, to get out of the beta brainwave frequency into the alpha, and maybe even into theta, depending on how deep you go. Because it is a trance. It is a trance that you go into in meditation. I do Joe Dispenza meditations, and the music that is used and the words that are used, it triggers you to go into different brainwave states, but you have to first let go. So, meditation and just the overall understanding that you transcend the physical realm. As painful as as painful as the physical realm can be at times, you still transcend it. And anyway, again, I'm not gonna there's things I want to say about the LA fires, but it's just not, timing is not appropriate right now. But there's a lot to take away from that, and there's a lot to speak about it. Um, but yeah, boundaries 26, meditate 40, and I feel really calm. Like I felt when this card came out, it was like rah, like really, like literally that very intense energy. But then as meditate has come through, it's like just calm. Just allow yourself to be calm. And if you can't find any calm, just literally take this moment right now to connect to the silence and just breathe. Third card, last card, 34, knowledge. Because with the meditation, okay, this is coming in as star seeds implementing their systems, implementing different knowledge, galactic knowledge, which will come through visions or patterns or light language. For those of you that are working with light language, um, or even just the symbols that might come through galactically. Um, knowledge is coming through, but you might have to meditate. You might have to connect to the stillness or find your own stillness or whatever it is. I'm not saying it's necessary, because information can still come through even in the times of chaos. Like I was saying, like even when the Schumann resonance is going off and you're just like, what the fuck? You still get the downloads. So just whatever this is intuitively signaling to you, I would just connect with it that way, because nothing really explicit is coming through with this card. Um, but just linking it with boundaries, meditate, and knowledge, it's like a lot of you that are meant to call these new systems in, that are meant to implement, let's say, the new earth. But let's just call it the new systems, because new earth is, that term is really thrown around a lot. For those of you that are meant to really bring in the new systems, you can only kind of do it from this place of clearing your energy and putting the boundaries down. Like, in whatever way you feel like you need to enforce the boundaries, because it's almost like it's like bringing a baby into the world, right? You might like, are you going to birth the baby in an environment of chaos? Is the baby going to be able to thrive in an environment of chaos? So with the boundaries, it's like you're clearing the energetic space so you can actually receive the new information. Because even with manifesting, like a lot of us, we are kind of manifesting from this earthly experience, right? Virgo energy. But galactically, as star seeds, or even just if you are trying to ascend in this lifetime, you want to be manifesting on frequency. You want to be calling in what is actually in deep resonance, Pisces energy. So it's like you want to clear the boundaries, you want to clear the path to bring in what you're actually meant to bring in for your higher ascended self. Because to be honest, like, yeah, the material comes and goes. People come and go, things come and go, but what remains, it's the energy. Like when you are able to I don't really want to link it to money, but I will because it's the easiest way to understand right now. But when a person manifests $1 million, let's say, or $1 billion, and they lose it, do they stop being a millionaire and billionaire? In the earth sense, in the physical sense, yes, but energetically, they they already got to that level where they were able to call in that amount of money, because it's just energy, right? At the end of the day, it's still energy. Like even more so now because our our financial system isn't backed by anything physical. So we could say even now more, our money is more quantum because it just keeps getting printed exponentially. Of course, I'm not talking about how valid that is as a sustainable financial system, but what I mean is we are even now more in this realm of money is not real. So you don't lose that energy. You lose it if you allow yourself to believe that your worth and your energy is actually tied to the physical outcome. So, manifesting more on the frequency, maintaining your energy, understanding your energetic state is the thing that governs all things. It is the dominant factor, especially if we're talking about quantum physics and not Newtonian physics, right? Causing and effect as opposed to cause and effect. So, these new systems that you're meant to bring in, they're new for a reason. So you have to clear the space, you have to set the boundaries, you have to protect your energy so you can actually be the clear channel for what is being birthed. Because that's what a lot of us are really meant to do in this lifetime. Like, yeah, we're meant to have the things we want. Yes, we're meant to live the experience we want to live, of course, 100%. But we're also meant to kind of manifest in a different way to push our soul's evolution. There's this quote I heard where it said manifesting is less about getting exactly what you want and more about knowing who exactly you are. And it just really struck me because it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, you want these things, you want them, you want the feeling, you want the freedom of having them, right? And I'm not obviously going to denote the very real physical experience of having what you want, but it is always about more freedom and the feeling that comes with it, right? But a lot of us are here to kind of transcend that and to manifest on frequency. So it just ties back to also the Pisces Virgo axis of, are you transcending the limitation of the physical realm? Are you being tied to the physical realm? And if so, how, like, are you able to look at how it's really limiting you? Because It's just going to keep limiting you. So there was more in terms of the manifestation, but I kind of lost that train of thought. But anyway, you right now I think it's enough to go off. So yeah, there's a lot of energies. I'm gonna pull like a few more cards just to see if anything else comes through. And yeah, since you can see the good fortune, I'm gonna see it. Good, I'm gonna show it. Good fortune 13 at the bottom of the deck. Um, Lucky number 13. Is there anything else for us to know in regards to just the current energies, guidance for anyone watching? Okay, well, I'll just take all of those. So the first card, transformation 19. Yes, sometimes transformation is fucking painful. Sometimes it is fucking painful to get out of that cocoon, to crack the cocoon or to crack the egg open, right? Whatever, however you want to take it, it's painful. But doesn't have to be. Like moving into this energy of can the birthing process and can the transformation process be more from a place of joy and lightness? Because us as humans, we have gone through the difficult lessons a lot, and it doesn't have to be. Like everything is quantum, right? Everything is energy. So why can we not call in the easier ways of transforming, the easier ways of learning the lessons? So that's one of the messages coming through. The other is just the very obvious transformation, time of transformation in whatever way this comes up for you. Whether it's connecting it in the linear way to all these cards or this is just sticking out. It's your time of transformation. And transformation occurs in every moment, in every possibility. That's what I was saying. It's like, yes, we're here in this earthly realm, but every moment is new. Every moment is filled with limitless possibility. You are not who you were a second ago. You may think you are, but really you're not. And anyone that has done the serious meditation that I'm talking about, like, has actually transcended and gone into different brainwave states and really been in the nothingness, in the quantum, like really actually experienced the quantum field. Because it's one thing to know the quantum field, or it's one thing to know about quantum physics. It's another thing to directly experience it, to directly experience losing yourself in the quantum field. So you are not who you were a second ago, but you won't understand what I'm talking about if you haven't directly experienced it. And this comes back to the truth of there is only now. There is only this moment. There is no other moment other than now. And everything can happen in the now. Gratitude. What was I saying? Gratitude. Right now, be grateful for whatever you have. And know that through that power of gratitude, you can transform, you can transmute, you can bring in whatever it is you want and more. Accepting, accepting and being grateful, not resisting. When we resist, we're basically rejecting. We're saying, oh, this is not good enough. And you know what? We're just going to be in that perpetual state of it's not good enough, it's not good enough. But you know what? When you accept, when you can get into a place of stillness, when you can accept the transformation that's occurring instead of fighting it and the lunar nodes shifting, it is transformation. It is big transformation, especially for those of you having a nodal return. If you are born with your north node in Pisces and your south node in Libra, you'll have south node in Virgo. You're having a nodal return, big transformation energy coming up. So be grateful. Be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for what you have when you manifest it. Be grateful for your current state, accepting the physical as it is, and being grateful for it. Because once you start to be grateful for what you physically have, you are able to love it and change it in a more powerful way. Because we have Earth, 11. Like when you can love your body as it is, when you can love your home as it is, and accept it and not fight it, you light this flame for possibility, because you're in an energy of, okay, you know what? I'm fine. I'm chill. I know my worth. I know I can transmute any situation. I'm detached. I'm detached from rushing. And yeah, grounding. You might want to ground again. Virgo energy is like grounding in your body, finding grounding practices that you can really like just exhale into. There is this big need to exhale really deeply, kind of like exhale to reset the energy for the nodal shifts. That's what's coming in. So exhale to reset, fully empty out to be this really prime, empty container for what is actually coming in, and then ground in that energy. And the new roots that you're going to grow, the new roots that are going to grow from you for this new chapter, this new cycle. It's really a new cycle. Yes, you can think of it as a new chapter, but it is a new cycle at the end of the day, because it's going to come back round in the next 18 years. We're going to have the same, I think it's like 18 years. The nodes return to the same places. So it's a new cycle. We are in, we live in a cyclical realm. Earth is a cyclical realm. So grounding in the cycles, knowing that you still are the outwardly expanding spiral. That is your soul's evolution, but you are still closing out the cycles with each increment of the spiral expanding. So ground. 11 is a master number as well. So finding the mastery of self, trusting in being the master within your own wisdom. Your wisdom is what allows you to be the master, the shamanic path, as I've been talking about. It's like the only grounding we really find, the only real grounding we can find sometimes is in our own body. It's not in the earthly possessions. Like I said, when you get your millions and billions, and if you lose them, that doesn't mean you're not a millionaire or a billionaire. You still are, and you can get that back. Trusting in just really being rooted in yourself. And again, this is echoing the message of with star seeds, with harmonizing with the earthly experience, harmonizing in your body, not being at war with your body. A lot of us star seeds kind of at war with our bodies, like we were born being at war with our body, feeling it's a foreign thing. So Virgo and Pisces South Node is like release any incapacity to harmonize with your physical vessel, release that. so that you can be so that you can be a so that you can better anchor in the the insights from the celestial realms that it's happening regardless. Like you're getting those insights regardless, but it's like how can you anchor them in through yourself, through your vessel. And soulmate 49, this is kind of echoing the friendship card. So it's like, I mean, look, if you're looking for love, don't settle. Don't settle for anything that is not what you want. Don't settle for anything that is not this. These two hearts intertwined. Because this is what you really want, and this is what is going to create the new reality that you are meant to call in with your soulmate or soulmates, whether it's the people that really just get you on that deep level or your divine soul partner that you are calling in. Don't accept anything less than this. Don't accept anything less than someone meeting you where you are, really seeing you for all that you are, so that you can be equally intertwined. It is not the codependent energy, it is the two individuals, the two of you are in sync. So, actually, as I'm seeing this, I'm seeing the boundaries, meditate, and knowledge, transformation in the middle, gratitude, earth, soulmate. It's like, in order for you to call in this new relationship that you want, or like this deepening relationship within yourself, the transformations occurring in the middle to birth this new kind of anchored timeline, basically. um I'm gonna just take a picture so you can see how it looks, because I think it helps also just see an image. So it's this image. So it's like, this is the timeline that's necessary, the transformation that's occurring, and then the new timeline at the top. And it ends with soulmates. So this new timeline is coming in, and I'm gonna just look at the bottom of the deck. Shadow, very appropriate. You still need to do the work. This shadow card is mimicking this transformation card because of the colors. So you still need to do the work. You can't escape doing the work. You can't escape the shadow, in the sense of it's going to be there. And sometimes the shadow gets so loud because it's being ignored. It's just a part of you. It's just the part of you that needs healing. So doing the shadow work, really exploring like what is in your subconscious that is in pain. The shadow is really just indicating to us the parts of us that are in pain, that just need the healing. And the power comes from the shadow. Once you have integrated your shadow from the trauma that you've gone through, by fully allowing yourself to express what you are feeling, the shadow is only born as a result of repressing what you are feeling. When you don't allow yourself to, I'm not talking about in a destructive or aggressive way. I'm not talking about that. This isn't like a free pass to just be like, I'm gonna just absolutely like just do whatever I want because I'm in pain. No, but allow yourself to feel it. This is what I was saying about like, there's a rude awakening for a lot of people, because it's like that love and light, that constant wanting to just be like, oh, good vibes only. It's like there's a time and a place for good vibes only. But when people are hurting immediately, they need to feel that. They need to just say, I'm not okay. Like, this is really fucked. I'm devastated. I'm at a loss for words. Like, Let them feel that. Don't start putting all this love and light on top, because all you do is you repress, and that's where the shadows are born from. It's that repressed energy. So you have to just let people be, including yourself. Feel your emotions. Feel your emotions fully, so that you are not having this shadow come up just like in the dark, like, oh my god, I didn't realize I had all these beliefs come up because I didn't allow myself to feel things fully, and now I'm having all kinds of things about self-worth. Like, why do I not feel worthy? Because, oh, I didn't allow myself to fully feel the pain in that moment. That's what trauma is. Trauma, hi Sky. Trauma is not allowing yourself to feel the pain fully, but it's this fine line between feeling the pain fully and wallowing in the pain, right? We're not living in the pain. We're not like having the pain be our identity and be like, oh my god, like this pain I have is now just, I get to do whatever I want and I get to be like an absolute bitch, for example. Like, no, feel the pain, um, express it in the ways that just are not gonna cause like more pain, let's say, or damage or any of that. Um, and then release. You want to release. So that's why the shadow card is coming up. And it's really just it's really just a reminder, like, be honest with yourself, be truthful with yourself, be real with yourself. The full moon illuminates. So, what is it illuminating in your subconscious? What are you not wanting to see? Like, yes, you want your soulmate. Yes, you want this new timeline. What are you not looking at? I'm going to see if. Okay. I'm going to see if any other messages want to come through before we close out the reading. So this one legit, like, just completely flew up. Migrate. Because of what's going on collectively with LA, a lot of people are not able to move. They are stuck. And it can cause, of course, so much feeling of powerlessness. So I'm acknowledging that, because for some reason these fires have, I'm in England. I'm not even in America. I'm in England. But for some reason these fires I've really felt connected to on a very strong level, and I just, my heart just really hurts for all the people that they can't go anywhere. Like, they've literally lost everything and they can't even go anywhere. Like, I can't imagine how that feels. So my heart really goes out to those that, like, they can't. Um but Clarence, bottom of the deck, is basically saying, like, you still transcend all things. Even in the most dire of circumstances, you still transcend all things. So it's like Clarence is coming in with like this very childlike, pure energy. Like, I want to cry. I'm feeling very emotional with Clarence. It's like, it's gonna be okay. Like, he's saying it's gonna be okay. Um, like, if you connect to this in this moment, I would say just open your heart, open your mind, open up your entire being to allow Clarence, his energy, to come in, because it's very pure. It's like that high frequency star seed, star child. He's very like star child energy. very pure. So if you feel like you can't go anywhere, if you feel like you can't move, if you feel stuck, and I would say yes, the powerless energy of course is there, but it's like the stuck energy, um, where you can't move and you feel as though like everything is just completely wrong and upside down. I would say call on Clarence because Clarence really speaks to this galactic, celestial, quantum energy that is at the root, the core of all things, including us. We are, we're all kind of star children at the end of the day. Illuminate what's being illuminated. What's being illuminated within your soul. Like, yes, things happen in the earth realm, but in every moment, regardless of how difficult it is, there is still this capacity to connect to what is internally coming in. And you see this light, it is it is from within. This is your soul. This is the light of your soul that nothing can take away. No tragedy, nothing happening in the physical realm. You are still divine. You are divine at your core. All of us, every single one of us, we are children of the universe. We are children of the divine. So connect to this. This is your infinite, innate, limitless power. And new things can be birthed in any single moment because you're not who you were a second ago. We are energetic beings at our core. Yes, it's hard to feel that fully when we're more in the physical realm, when we're more in the beta brainwave state, when we're only really perceiving less than 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum, which has already been demonstrated in quantum physics. So this is you at your core. You are eternal. You are this eternal child of the universe. So allow yourself to illuminate that. Allow that eternal wisdom. Like it goes beyond love. Love is a very powerful frequency, but authentic illumination is even more powerful. So it's like this new light is being birthed from this tragedy. Whatever the tragedy is, if you are in LA, if you are not in LA, like whatever the tragedy is, there is this new light being cracked open. And yes, it might be painful as fuck, or it might not. It might not be painful because you're already in the timeline where you are learning your lessons through joy. But if you're not, it's okay. There is still this illumination coming out, and it's very powerful, and it's even more powerful than the tragedy, like because the tragedy is the past and the illumination of the energy is the potential, the limitless potential, which is the now and the future. So the physical is always representing the past, and the light is always presenting the now, which is the quantum at the core, which is you. It's you in your truthful state. If you allow yourself to connect to that, and you can connect to it in any moment, but it's very much an energetic thing. It is not something that you're going to be able to like logically tap into because it's illogical. It's the quantum. We're talking about illogical. That's where delulu comes from, right? It's like be delusional. It's actually be illogical, meaning you're not looking at the 3D framework, which is simply a representation of past energies. It's simply the representation of the wave collapsing into the particle. So the illogical is the wave function, shadow and light, illuminate, shadow, right? Is it coming together? You are shadow, you are light. Transcending the false duality, the false polarization, good versus evil. It's not about a Luciferian model of just doing what you want, right? It's about understanding you are good, you have light and dark. Good versus evil is the man-made polarity that society has put on us as a program for several reasons, but your innate capacity for empathy, that goes off of energetics. That has nothing to do with what is morally obligated of us. So shadow and light, this is transcending. When you can transcend your internal duality, you start to operate from a very different level. You start to operate from more of this illuminated consciousness, as opposed to what has been holding you back previously on the limitations of how people like to categorize human beings. And this comes back to the starseed frequency. As a starseed, if you are watching this and connecting with the starseed frequency, you understand what I mean. But even if you're an earth seed, even if you just resonate more with the earth seed frequency and consciousness, still, this is about transcending even that limitation to be the new human. What is the new human? We are going towards that. And it's already been prophesized. 2027 is the age. It's the cross of the sleeping phoenix, which is the next 400-year cycle that we're entering into. We're exiting the cross of planning, which is the 400-year cycle that we're just coming from. So this new human is being birthed, and it's us through our evolution, through transcending the illusion ultimately, and that does still affect the physical. So I know that's a lot. Take that as you will, but it is ultimately always about transcending, but respecting when you can transcend. It's not about pushing yourself to transcend, but when you can transcend, I would say transcend. And yes, she is the queen of transcending. She's the queen, Sonalyn. This is my favorite card in the deck. Ugh, like regal energy. Regal energy deep in divinity. It's like the deepening of the layers of the energy. Like I hope you can feel her energy because it is very regal. It is very grounded in divinity. This is also a card of timelessness, but you can think of Clarence as the child and Sonalyn, of course I could say adult, but it's not really that. It's a deepened energy. So this is what we always want to be going towards through the progression. This is when we really hold ourselves in that deep state of regalness where, like I was saying, if you manifested $1 million or $1 billion and you lost it in the physical realm, does that mean you lost being a millionaire or billionaire? No, because you already manifested that. That's what this is. Sonalyn is that really deep, solidified, energetic state of divinity, which is what we all came here to do. That's the point of us incarnating. Like, why are we here in this earthly experience? To deepen into the lessons, to deepen into the wisdom, which is all we take with us when we leave this realm. We don't take anything else. We don't take the physical. We don't take our bodies. We take the lessons and we take the energy that we have deepened into through our own experience, through going into the dark, into the unknown, to become stronger within ourselves, to become the shamans of our own path, to illuminate, and sometimes to illuminate the path for others. Sometimes, yeah, it's not about being selfish, but it's about standing in your divinity and your regalness from your own worth, from your own transformation, from your own light, from your own energy, things that no one can take away from you. No one can take that away from you. So sometimes illuminating the path for others, and sometimes realizing that you are the light at the end of the tunnel. When we go through dark nights of the soul, when we go through that deep depression, that deep suffering, that deep what the fuck, how could this happen to me? Like sometimes life does happen to us, right? Sometimes it does. But it's not about living in that victim mentality, or it's not about living in the victim frequency, shall I say, because mentality can just equate to like, oh, it's just being made up in the head. No. But living in the victim frequency, assess that for yourself. You Sometimes you are the light at the end of the tunnel. That's the whole point of it. It's like there is no light at the end of the tunnel because you are meant to be the light of the tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel for yourself. You're meant to be the light in the tunnel, guiding your way through the path. So we don't always see where we're going. Sometimes we do, sometimes we can forecast, sometimes we can see the path before us, but there are times where we can't. And we are the light. So you are the light. Nothing in the physical realm can ever take away the fact that you are the light. Sometimes the light gets dimmed to a really weak flame. Sometimes the flame is just there flickering in the wind in the complete dark that could be blown out at any moment. But it's like, that's why you want to protect. That's why you want to put the boundaries in place, because when you are in that delicate flame energy that happens when you experience trauma, the first thing is boundaries. Forget everything else. Forget love, forget light. Boundaries. Protect your energy, protect the flame so it can grow again into the strong fire of what you already are. You know, we already came into this life as that strong, bright light. But things happen. It's part of life. It's part of the earth game experience. It's what we signed up for our soul to have an experience, even the most traumatic, even the most like, what the fuck? How could my soul have agreed to experience the most traumatic shit I wouldn't wish on anybody else? How could my soul have said yes to that? Well, you know what? It's like the soul is just sampling the different flavors. Our human brain cannot understand that because we are wired to physical sensations. We are wired to physical pain, even the spiritual pain we go through. But it's always an experience for the soul. So, working through all of it, embracing the darkness to transcend it. And that's where you get your power from. Real power comes from the darkness. And then you are able to shine light. Then you are able to be the light for others. But darkness has its place just as light has its place. And once you master that and transcend it, you are operating on a whole nother level. You're operating on the frequency of Sonolan, spirit. She's the energy of spirit. Spirit is timeless. Spirit never judges us. Your spirit loves you no matter what. You can do whatever you want. Your spirit is always going to love you. And if your spirit is all you have, if you don't have people supporting you in the physical realm, it's more than enough. Sometimes in traumatic events, we are left on our own. And that's the way it goes. And it's still what our soul desired to experience. And even though it's difficult, you still have your spirit. And that's more than enough. Bernard of Earth and Flow. It's so crazy because I never get this many cards. But deciding to go live, the cards are just coming out. Literally, when I have pre-recorded the readings, I have been shuffling. That's why when you watch those pre-recorded readings, they're always cut because it's like I've been shuffling for like, I don't even know how long. And I'm like, I'm not going to put this on the video so people see me just shuffling for like God knows how long. But lo and behold, on the live reading, this deck, which is a very particular deck, the cards are just coming out. So Bernard of Earth and Flow. It's two opposing energies because Bernard is earth energy and Flow is obviously water energy. So take this intuitively. No, but through great message. Okay. Yes, I'm glad. I'm glad. So take this intuitively as you will. Connect with these energies intuitively as you will, especially when the spirit guides come through, because they are very real beings. The creator of this deck, Asia Dasher from Spirit House Collective, she channeled her own spirit guides in this deck. This deck is alive. Like, this is the only deck I have ever used that I can actually say is alive. So this is a very particular deck. The Sacred Symbols deck, it feels more of a, let's say, a traditional oracle deck. This deck, and I'm not saying this for any other reason because I'm not connected with her like in that way. This deck is alive. These spirits are very much alive. So Bernard of Earth, grounding energy. And we already had the Earth card come up, right? So Earth, Bernard of Earth, if you can see, and then Earth, right? So it's like we have to do the hard work, yes. Calling on Bernard of Earth if you want to help you with the difficult work. By difficult work, I mean shadow work. Shadow work can be difficult, right? Because we're having to face like what we don't want to face. We might have to journal. We might have to sit with our feelings. We might have to somatically process things. But also, Bernard of Earth is like, what are you building in the physical? What is the new timeline that you're building? He can help you. If you are someone that likes to outsource your issues to spirits in petition, if you want to manifest from a different place, if you want to be manifesting the different version of you that understands how to navigate these energies in a more transcended and masterful way, i.e., Sonolan, you want to be inviting these spirits, whatever spirit you're working with, whatever god or goddess you petition to, invite them as a co-collaborator. Because what I've been picking up on is the age of petitioning to gods, goddesses, spirits, ancestors. We're kind of moving away from that. We've done that. We know how to do that. Where we put the physical things and we ask them. The way we are going to be working with spirits is understanding we are co-collaborating with them, which means we intuitively see and decide how we work with them, which doesn't always mean petitioning or putting things to giving them physical things. So working with Bernard of Earth, and there's more about spiritual discernment, but I'm not going to go into that right now in this reading unless it comes up. But working with Bernard of Earth, calling in his energy. If you procrastination, let's just be more like tangible, right? Procrastination. If you find yourself procrastinating, you could just be like, you know what, Bernard, I'm calling on you. I'm calling you in to be in my field to help me. So I'm not like, oh God, do this for me, please. I'm gonna give you this to whatever, like I said, whatever god, goddess, spirit you're petitioning to, ancestor. It's not about just like, oh, I'm gonna give you this thing and you're gonna give me this. This exchange is changing, especially for work within the physical, tangible realm. If you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat, because since this is live, it can also be interactive. If there's anything that's coming up, if there's any clarification, if there's any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the chat. So I'm gonna see what else comes through, because I'm about to close out the reading because it's been almost 2 hours. But yeah, a lot of cards. Like I'm not gonna say I'm pleasantly surprised, because I really love this deck. Like I said, it's very particular. But one of my fears was like, oh my God, like there's gonna be no cards that come out because it's just not that kind of deck. It's very specific. So I'm gonna talk about spiritual discernment. I'm gonna talk about spiritual discernment because we have this card, right? So what are the spirits you are interacting with? Because not everything is for your highest. Not everything is for your highest good. Not everything wants your highest good, and these are very real. Whatever we interact with, it 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 comes into our field, and sometimes it attaches onto our field. So the spiritual discernment that has been coming through, that I've channeled, that has just been coming up a lot, is what are the spirits, what are the entities, what are the entities, what are the gods and the goddesses, what are the ancestors that you are working with knowingly and unknowingly? Are you calling on the spirits of the highest frequencies, or are you wanting to interact more with certain spirits because you like what is portrayed about them? Or it's coming more from the lens of the ego? Because that happens in our spiritual journey. We want to work with this goddess or this god because we think they're really cool, or there's something about them, but it comes from this lens of the ego. So the entity card is coming up as spiritual discernment, because you have to navigate the spiritual realm, right? And there's a lot that hangs out in the spiritual realm, in the astral realm. So raising your level, raising your standard of what you are going to be interacting with, and not giving into like fear around this, because you are the light, right? You are the light. And this is what I'm saying about shadow and dark. Like the dark, I'm glad you need to hear this. The dark the dark only scares us because, in whatever sense, you want to talk about it, but the dark only scares us when we aren't anchored into our own light. The shaman has to go into the unknown. The shaman has to go into the dark. It's his initiation. So allow yourself to be initiated, and understand that nothing can attach onto you that you don't give permission to. So right now, just dusting off anything that has been in your field. Light the sage, energetically, physically, however you want to, you know, yes, clear the space. But it's not about like, it's really more about the spiritual discernment, right? It's like that's how we're moving. That's our standard. Because when you are operating on this really anchored in divinity, like who's more powerful in these two, right? Who's more powerful? So this is you. You are infinitely more powerful than whatever entity wants to enter your field and feed off of you. Like you are infinitely more powerful. That's why I'm saying spiritual discernment. When you raise your energetic standard, just like in real life, when you decide, oh, I'm not going to hang around with these people because I've moved on. This is the evolution in the spiritual sense. Coming really to terms with, are you like what you are really wanting to interact with, and how it really is, like if it's really for your greatest good. And for star seeds, this is going to be almost like second nature for you, because you operate off of more of frequency than the physical realm. So for a lot of star seeds, ancestral veneration in terms of having an altar is very heavy for a star seed. For example, not for everyone, right? But for example, so trusting that innate feeling of, do I work more with the pure energetics, and do I work more with the the higher frequency beings or the lower frequency beings? And it's not about like some beings are better than others. It's more just what feels better in the resonance and frequency. Because if you are interacting with a lot of earthbound spirits, you're interacting with a lot of earthbound energy. And if you are a star seed, it's very heavy for you, or it just doesn't, it's not compatible. So that's why a lot of star seeds, like the whole ancestral veneration thing, for example, or even if you're a channel, but you're not channeling spirits, like there's a reason why, because you are just naturally more inclined to these higher frequency beings. It doesn't mean one is better than the other. It's not really like a class system. It's more just frequency. What you are, what feels energetically lighter. I mean, yeah, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Of course, like that's, police yourself, right? Like find out for yourself. Like that's what it means to be a true master of self. Only you can tell what's really good for you, and it comes off of your own electromagnetic frequency. That is what we are innately connected to. That's why I say, like, good versus evil is one of the man-made polarities. There are natural occurring polarities, but there are man-made polarities, right? Societal polarities. And good versus evil is a big man-made false polarity that we have been under, which has just taken the teachings from different religious teachings, right, and said, oh, we're going to make these rules in society, and it polarizes people. And then that's why people are a bit lost, because like they're operating within these like false polarities, and they're viewing reality, which doesn't behave. Reality doesn't behave on good versus evil, right? If it did, reality would be fair, right? Like we would actually, society would actually reflect, or reality would accurately reflect good versus evil. But it doesn't work that way, because it's a man-made polarity. So just because you should doesn't mean, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Find that out for yourself. When you can transcend your own illusion of polarity, you start to operate in a different frequency, and naturally it will change the spirits that you're also interacting with, and the beings, not just spirits, right? The beings, as star seeds, you also interact with galactic beings, and they also hold their own frequencies. Um, but yeah, that's in terms of spiritual discernment. It is very much your own path. It is about finding out what truly resonates with you and what's ultimately giving you energy. Whatever you do spiritually should give you energy. If it takes energy from you, gold. I have not seen this card in a minute, and I'm so happy it came up, because we should only be going towards gold. Do you see these hands? Do you see how it's just light? Like, do you see all of these hands? It's almost like what is coming up with this card is elevated ancestors, right? It's like we're moving away from working with heavy energy. Like the minute we start understanding, it's like understanding your true worth as well. Like you are gold. You are pure gold. Your soul is pure gold. Nothing can dirty that. Nothing can take away from that. You have 1,000 hands like raising you up. I love it. I love it. I love this gold energy. Like it's just so beautiful. So this is what we're moving into. It's like we're moving into the golden era, the golden age. I would say more on a personal level, because collectively, the collective timeline, there's a lot. There's still a lot there. I would say on the personal timeline, you want to be going into the gold frequency, which is what you already are, right? You already inherently are gold. You were born already in this like gold frequency. It's what you want to maintain, because it's your energetic standard. Gold is very precious, and gold is formed in the darkness of the mountains. So you want to be protecting yourself, because you are gold. You are precious. It doesn't matter how, it doesn't like, gold has been revered. There's a lot of precious metals, but gold has been revered for many reasons, and people will put whatever estimate they have in terms of the value of gold. Yes, dripping in gold, right? Like whatever comes up for you, like that is your inherent frequency, and you're not lowering it for anyone, and you're not lowering energetic standard and you're not lowering your energetic frequency for anybody or anything. That is the new timeline that's being activated. It is the golden timeline that's being activated. So take this as the activation. Like, take this as the official activation if you have been asking for a sign, because it's very much here. Like, I was literally shuffling this deck because I pre-recorded readings for the nodal shifts and I was about to pre-record for the Cancer new moon, and I was like, fuck it, like, I'm tired of pre-recording and editing, like, it's so heavy. And I was shuffling this deck back and I saw the gold card and I was like, I haven't seen this card in so long, like almost like a year. And I just love that it came in this reading because the energy of this card is divine. Like, Sonalyn is my favorite card of the deck. She was the first card I ever pulled, but I've always loved her energy through this deck. And gold is like another card that I just absolutely love because it is just such a high frequency. And there's a lot of, like, with the spiritual realm, like, a lot of us, we kind of do things because we kind of like the obscure, or we like the way certain things appear, but it doesn't mean it's always like in resonance with the golden frequency of our soul. And that's what we want to be operating from. That's how we want to be going forward. And even with the nodal shift, right, like the north node, like, where is your north star pointing? Is it pointing in the direction of gold, or is it pointing in the direction of just doing something because you just like the way it appears but it doesn't resonate in the most beneficial, harmonious way for your soul? So I'm gonna just see if one more card comes through to close out the reading. But it's been really amazing energy. Like, I just love it. Okay, final card to close out this reading is Spark. Spark came up a lot in the past couple of readings. So Spark is like, it just takes a spark. And Spark, I really link to when we go through trauma. I link this card to the light within us that becomes really kind of small when we go through trauma. And the description of this card is the spirit guides, your spirit guides are fanning the flame. That's why I was saying about, even if that light within you becomes just a flame that feels like it's about to blow out in the wind, protect it, of course, protect it. But what this is saying is, like, it just takes a spark. Like, the spark is what starts the burning fire, right? So it just takes a spark. It just takes a spark of inspiration. It can happen in a flash. Even if you just have a spark that you're holding onto, like a tiny flame, that is like your only hope, it's more than enough. Because the fire of your soul is eternal. There is nothing that can happen in this earthly realm that can even like make any amount of difference to the magnitude that your soul has. Like, I know it can be hard to really feel that at times when we go through difficulty, but it's the truth. Like, it's the absolute truth. Our souls are incredibly vast. They are incredibly powerful. What we are in this lifetime is just a fraction of what our soul actually is. And so the spark, like, you just need the spark. Spark is more than enough. So I'm going to close out the reading. I'm just going to see if anything else was channeled that I forgot to to mention before I close out this reading, but I think there was very quickly something about the splitting. So, okay, just from what I remember that was channeled. This is for those of you that are very quickly before I just give this channel message that came through. Thank you, spirit guides. Thank you, elevated ancestors. Thank you, spirit team, and any other beings that are working for our highest good. Thank you for being present in this reading and bringing through these divine, sacred messages. We are so grateful. So anchoring in these messages and really making sure that whatever resonates, we are adding to our field and amplifying. So one of the other channeled messages that came through recently was that this is for those of us that are navigating reality and deciding, how we're moving in reality and what we're doing. And this propensity, this kind of habit to categorize ourselves. So when you are a multidimensional being, when you try to navigate reality as like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to categorize myself this way. Oh, you're so welcome, Sky. Thank you. When we say, I'm going to categorize myself this way, what we do is we weaken ourselves, because everyone is multidimensional, because everything is multidimensional by nature, because everything is quantum. And our logical mind, our conscious mind, receives everything as linear, right? That's why we think of time as linear. But time is not linear. And everyone, because everything is multidimensional, we are all multidimensional. But for those of us that are really tuned into this multidimensional capacity that we innately have, and those of us as star seeds, where multidimensionality is like the base level, yeah. So whenever we are operating on this kind of like, how are we going to navigate reality? We're going to split ourselves into this. We're going to categorize ourselves as this. We weaken ourselves. So it is about, okay, if you really need to categorize yourself on a practical level for whatever you have to do, go into that categorization as your fully multidimensional self. So meaning, don't fragment yourself, bring your whole multidimensional self into that fragment you're choosing. This will resonate as it resonates, but that is what clearly came up, because we're stepping into this rainbow frequency, meaning once the cross of the sleeping phoenix happens in 2027, which is the new 400-year cycle, it is the rainbow frequency, because it is the fullness of self, which was channeled, which I will be uploading, but it is the fullness of self, which is also coming in, and it is the rainbow frequency. And the significance of that is the rainbow frequency ties to the source of light, because the source of light is just white light, right? That's what it appears in our optical eye, and it's fragmented out into the rainbow, meaning it's fragmented out into the 7 different colors, but it's always coming back to that source of light. So whenever we are fragmenting ourselves and not understanding that we are always whole, and the fragments are simply our multidimensional aspects, we weaken ourselves. So you want to be moving forward, always maintaining your wholeness, understanding that your multidimensional aspect makes up your wholeness as you move forward, and making sure that you aren't fragmenting yourself in any capacity. Because when you are, just come back into the state of wholeness, be like, okay, you know what? I've been operating more from this fragmented state. I'm going to come back into wholeness and move forward from that, because your full self is on board, and you have less of a chance of kind of going more with your shadow aspect. But the shadow aspect doesn't really, I'm pulling that card because it came up in the reading. So for those of you that maybe aren't resonating so much with the whole rainbow frequency, because I understand it's not for everyone, you can think of it very simply as you will fragment yourself and create more shadows, because the shadows are created from whatever is not fully felt, and it's being repressed and fragmented off, which is what happens with trauma. Whenever we experience trauma, we're simply fragmented off, and that's where the shadows are born. So you want to be always maintaining the fullness of yourself and moving forward as that. Because 2027, even though it's 2 years away, 2027 is very much a new era. It's a new 400-year cycle. And it is very much about the full empowered version of self in the multidimensional aspect, not from the egoistical sense, because that's what people have been getting confused about, understanding that everyone is the center of their own universe because they just are, as opposed to people thinking they're the center of the universe. So, Cross of the Sleeping Phoenix is everyone understanding, coming into the understanding of the truth that they are at the center of their own universe. You are at the center of your own universe just by the law of energy. So the Cross of the Sleeping Phoenix is really gonna just it's rainbow frequency completely, and that is the energy we're going into. So that's what was channeled in terms of the more you kind of split yourself, the more you weaken how you are operating in reality and energetically, and also just how you are relating to yourself. So I hope this resonates for those of you that watched, and it is a very potent cycle that we're entering into. And yeah, this reading was very, very powerful, and just reiterating this card because this is the truth of what you are, regardless of what anything that might happen or what anyone might say or do or anything that might happen to you. This is what you are. So just basking in your own golden frequency and anchoring in your golden timeline as the truth. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.